Look who's on the list. Ashton Kutcher, Adam Sandler, Ethan LaRoche.
Who's Ethan LaRoche?
I don't know, but he's gonna be there.
Drake and Josh is pretty up there on my list of favorite Nickelodeon shows. I mean, it captured the same energy I loved about Kenan and Kel. And kept it updated with the times for the aughts. I love that the show would never be afraid to leave the realm of full believability, often parodying popular films and other TV shows to add to the hijinks of the stepbrothers. What are you doing, stepbro? And honestly, there are plenty of weird episodes in the show's catalogs. I can name countless of them, but none more have really stuck in my head since the one in season 2, which is episode 7, Little Diva. Yes, the Weekend at Bernie's parody episode, just with, you know, a popular child movie star.
This is never gonna work. It will too. Sure, if no one notices that our eyes are closed and our heads dangling.
Alright, so at this point in the show, Josh is already working at the premiere movie theater, in which Helen walks up to both Drake and Josh who are there and informs the brothers that the theater is going to be hosting an actual Hollywood film premiere of Ashley Blake's newest film, Kid President. Who is Ashley Blake? I don't know, but it's this girl apparently.
This movie is starring Ashley Blake. Are you Ashley Blake?
No.
And Josh, of course, is overly cautious in making sure that he does not screw up anything while Ashley is there, and learns quickly that Ashley Blake isn't the nicest little girl in town. Firstly scolding him over room temperature water, and then forcing him to separate all the green gummy bears out of her candy. And of course, Drake wants nothing more than getting into the after party of when the film premiere is over to talk to all the pretty actresses and do his usual, Drake things. The similar characteristics the show has already shown us in every other episode.
Girl actresses? Josh, you gotta get me into this party.
Ashley then fires her assistant, who is actually her brother, and asks Helen to make Josh Ashley's personal assistant. Josh hesitantly says yes, but after being basically forced into doing this job or be fired from his real job, literally having to bend to her beck and call. All the while, Drake is still begging Josh to help get him into the after party. And he finally gets access to it after helping Josh get out from under a refrigerator that was supposed to be a sandwich.
There's a refrigerator on you.
Yeah. It was supposed to be a sandwich.
And only if he promises to help Josh assist Ashley Blake. Ashley then decides to invade the Parkers' home, continuing to boss around Drake and Josh full time. Not just in the theater. Megan, of course, likes that Ashley bosses them around, and they work together to mess with and prank the boys by putting a bucket on top of their door and figuring out what to fill in the bucket in hopes of dropping it onto the boys. And this was all coming to plan until the bucket falls and hits Ashley on the head, causing her to get a headache and not feel well.
Why was your bucket on top of our door?
Why was your door under my bucket?
They end up calling a house doctor to come over and check her out. Everything is fine, except he gave her some medicine that knocks her out cold and she won't be awake anytime soon. But with the premiere happening shortly and her being the responsibility of Drake and Josh, they have to quickly devise a plan to bring Ashley to the premiere and make it look like everything's normal, so they decide to Weekend at Bernie's her, essentially carrying her around and propping her up around the premiere as to not be suspicious of anything wrong going on. With sunglasses on her face, they walk her into the premiere, pretending to have her wave at all the fans that are there to see her, and it looks like the plan was successful until they're told that she has to do a Q&A for the press before the film. So what do the boys do? They pretend that she's whispering in their ear and answering the press's questions, all the while looking completely ridiculous and completely like there is something not right going on, but no one is more the wiser to the antics happening.
Wait! The girl!
This obviously being a pretty far-fetched circumstance, making it seem like this young movie star is completely coherent and just kind of tossing her around rather than letting her rest in the sake of not getting in trouble or, in Josh's case, fired. After the film premiere, everyone seems to be having a great time at the after party. The boys were able to successfully not get in trouble with Helen, able to meet famous people and see some pretty actresses during the after party, then all around just not face any consequences. And that's something pretty rare to see in the show. Basically every problem they got into kind of fell into their favor and had little resistance. Usually there would have been more shenanigans leading up to the boys learning some bigger lessons or dealing with some more pressing conflict, but not this time. The episode ends with the reveal that during the after party they hide Ashley Blake's unconscious body in a trash bin, and towards the end of the night she starts waking back up, continuing to berate Drake and Josh as they give her back to her bodyguard Citrus, and then as she fades back to sleep, Citrus puts her body back into the trash bin and continues to enjoy the after party some more without having to deal with Ashley.
Cousin, let's go bowling.
It was a very weird and very nonchalant way to end the episode. It's so weird to me how contained this small episode is, how weird the brief problems faced are, and before you know it, it's over. And I can't really tell you why this episode really stuck with me. It stuck in my head. It was just the odd one out, I guess. And like I said, weirder things have happened in Drake and Josh. Way weirder things have happened. But I think that the pacing of the episode, mixed with the weird shenanigans that don't really result in anyone learning any sort of lesson, and with no real resolve, it just kind of stuck out to me as the weirdest episode I can think about.
No, free candy.
Not even if I show you my tummy?
But all in all, that's why I feel this way about this episode. That's why I strongly remember this episode. And I think more references in a show like this that really make more sense the older you get can really shift the perspective you have when looking back on this stuff if you grew up with it. Obviously, most kids aren't going to be familiar with Weekend at Bernie's. And at the time, I wasn't either. But of course, now familiarizing myself with that film many years later, it feels like a trope that's been parodied a lot in the zeitgeist. But with this specific circumstance, this one instance of it was just done so weird, but the premise itself of Weekend at Bernie's is also weird. And that movie revolves around two people who pretend that their recently murdered employer is still alive while a hitman is after them to finish off because he thinks that, well, Bernie is still alive. Anyway, like I said, I love Drake and Josh. The show has always helped me find a way. No, that's dumb joke. I'm not going to do that joke. The show's weirder moments always fascinated me, and I'm curious as to what you think the weirdest episodes of Drake and Josh are. Or specifically, which ones stuck with you through all these years. Let me know in the comments. But that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button if so, press subscribe, and click the bell next to it to get notified when I upload next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch up with you next time.